Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Here's Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. National insurance in the Bahamas can go belly up by 2028 if something serious is not done. This story takes the lead in today's edition of Caribbean Perspective for Tuesday, 30th August 2022. Details when we return.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
Welcome back. The National Insurance Board's insolvency issue is not going away. Bahamas' Minister of State with responsibility for the NIB, Miles LaRoda, speaks on the issue. ZNS News has some details.
With a very real threat that the National Insurance Board's funds could soon be depleted, Minister with Cabinet responsibility for the agency, the Honorable Miles LaRoda, says at some point the dilemma will have to be addressed. Earlier this year, the ILO's 11th actuarial report revealed the fund could be insolvent by 2028. That is, if urgent action is not taken. LaRoda admitting more must be done, considering the fund remains under severe pressure.
But that does not negate the fact that there are employees of National Insurance who have performed. There are union agreements in the past, and part of our job is to satisfy those union agreements to do two things. Make sure that we have an employee complement at National Insurance, including the managers, who are productive and who would want to continue to service the Bahamian people, while also being cognizant of the fund that in being productive, we have to find ways to raise our revenue, be more proactive. But the big elephant in the room is the numbers are the numbers, and at some point, that decision would be made.
In the meantime, talks between Government of the Bahamas and unions on a new minimum wage intensify. More in this report.
Workers could possibly see an increase in minimum wage before year's end. Now, while government remains locked in conversations with various stakeholders on what the new minimum wage could be, Trade Union Congress President Obi Ferguson telling a local daily that government would likely approve a $50 increase to the current figure, bumping it up to $260. But would that be enough for private sector workers? These residents do not seem to think so.
No, I think it should be $300. People working hard, everything going up. The cost of living is, going up. $300.
I think it should be more than at least $300 per week, because everything in the food store expensive. When it's called a food store, 4 items, $40.
Former Labor Minister Shane Gibson also contending that $260 is simply not enough.
I think a $300 minimum wage at this time is really fair for employees. For too long, employees have been getting the short end of the stick. And when you look at what it costs to live out there, the cost of, you heard the other day Rupert Roberts say the cost of the price of food going up, the price of fuel went up significantly. Everything is going up right now. So I think it's unreasonable for anybody not to want to give, not everything the employees want, but certainly make it more comfortable.
Meanwhile, these residents say that while an increase at this time is a step in the right direction, they say government needs to take into consideration the mounting challenges that they're faced with.
Rent going up, everything else going up. Everywhere you go, everything going up. So give us a break, man. Give us a break. Give us $350, please.
It never be enough. But it's a step in the right direction, right? But it's never enough because the cost of living every time the price going up.
U.S. visa application tips for students as U.S. Embassy officials in Nassau expect things to normalize by January of 2023. More in this ZNS News report.
Well, still a wait for Bahamian students hoping to have their visa application approved in time to attend tertiary institutions in the United States. And this considering COVID-19 seriously impacted waiting times at U.S. embassies globally. Consular Section Chief here in Nassau, Lance Posey, is confident, though, that things will get back on track by January.
Did over 1,000 student visa applications over the last few months, which is pretty much on average to what we do on a regular basis. And so that takes up a lot of our bandwidth in the summertime. But we're hopeful that as we move towards 2023 and COVID is in our rearview mirror, that we will start to be able to tackle this backlog a little bit and the wait times and hopefully get it down to where it was pre-COVID. We've actually done more visa interviews in the first 6 to 8 months of this year than we did in 2018 or 2019.
Adequate funding and incomplete applications, just some of the challenges U.S. Visa Consular Section officers face from Bahamian student visa applicants. Add to that incorrect interview dates.
We cannot accept that form if the date is in the past. It has to be in the future. And so that's one of the problems that happens. Then there's just some of the basics, like make sure you have your photos, make sure that you have all your other, your passport's got the appropriate validity and things like that. And so when they come in, if they need to get to school soon, we will expedite their visa adjudication process to get the visa out the door as quick as we can. We'll do some things that we normally don't do with other applicants for the visa process with students, because it's, like I said, it's very, very important. And we know a lot of the issues that they're faced with are out of their hands.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Controversial talk show host Rick Wayne is preparing to return to DBS in St. Lucia. Wayne, who has been off the air for several months, was the guest of DBS's Networker Live program, where he gave an uncut evaluation of the island's political leaders.
A precursor to the return of his Thursday night talk program on DBS television, talk show host Rick Wayne was Wednesday's Newsmaker Live guest. The veteran journalist, of course, shared his views on a number of political and social issues of the day, stirring the pot with his comments, like his take on the quality of local politicians.
The politicians don't fail the people. The politicians don't promise things that people really expect them to deliver. They know, in any case, that where they can get money from. Every politician in this country has gotten into office the same way, by putting their knees on the neck of the poorest and most deprived people of the country. Think about that. Every single politician in this country has purported to have the interests of the little man at heart. They care about the poor man. They care about the poor man as steps into office. Promise them the world.
As for the island's leadership, in Wayne's opinion, there has not been one which could be considered a, quote, good prime minister.
You don't go to school to be prime minister, and people get into politics here, and whatever skills they have, we don't even know what skills they have, and a few of them have some arcane degrees that have nothing to do with the job they do. The public servants are the ones who do what needs to be done in the country. The people we elect are a bunch of idiots. A great prime minister would be a guy who would realize that education, not only education in the school, but skills training, skills, giving people skills. The school curriculum had to have things to instill self-confidence.
Interestingly, Wayne revealed that one politician whom he has been extremely critical of happens to be the one he admires the most.
I've written scathingly of Kenny Anthony, and I think up to now I wouldn't change a word. But don't let that, and especially with the times having moved, Kenny Anthony has some very good qualities. Very good qualities. There are situations where I call Kenny Anthony weak. And it's mainly because he doesn't want to hurt anybody. Right now, Kenny Anthony is going through a purgatory because Kenny Anthony doesn't want to speak. You realize Kenny Anthony did not speak on the...
Special prosecutor, Bill?
Special prosecutor.
Mm-hmm.
prosecutor.
Yeah.
Special prosecutor. He didn't speak on that. And Kenny Anthony would have had a lot to say about that. He's a constitutional expert. He's a lawyer. He had all the experience.
I don't think he spoke on the firearms amendment.
And he did not speak on the firearms either. You think that's accidental? No. He just didn't want to say anything to make the people look bad.
For more of Rick Wayne, tune in to DBS Television on Thursday, September 1st at 8 p.m. for the first episode of the new season of Talk. For the DBS News World, I am Zane Romulus.
In Jamaica, word is that 1,884 teachers on leave. Will they return? TVJ's Jamila Maitland reports.
167 teachers have officially left the public education system for other job opportunities, but hundreds of others are likely to be out of the school system come September. That's because they're on leave. How many? 1,884.
605 on 8 months leave, 1,015 on 4 months leave, and 100 on study leave, and that is being done. When we did the budget for that, the cost is a little over $3 billion to pay replacement persons for those.
But past president of the Jamaica Teachers Association, Winston Smith, says the real impact won't be felt until 2023.
The manifestation of the magnitude of problem will not be seen clearly until around about May, because that is when, if a teacher is on 8 months vacation leave, that teacher will be required to come back. So it is when that time comes that we'll really see the real impact of this migration.
The Ministry of Education has advised schools of ways to complement the system. However, the teachers argue that fixing the existing teaching environment must be improved also. Of concerns include the specialized coaches attached to the Sixth Form Pathways program who are on contracts.
They cannot access any form of loans from the banks because they have no tenure.
We will have an executive decision on this matter, and we will definitely get back to you. The fact that we're adding it to the JT agenda means that we're going to pay. It's an action item, as Pace just said. We're going to pay some attention to this matter. We do understand the critical skill set of those persons who serve in those posts.
An educator also told the conference of a teacher who's drowning in a $200,000 debt because of late payments caused by the bursary paid system. Unlike some teachers who received payment directly to their accounts, they received checks which are oftentimes late. The Education Minister Fayval Williams said the system will soon change.
Eventually, there will be no longer bursar paid schools. All our teachers are going to be paid centrally by the Ministry of Education and Youth. And so many of these problems that you would have been experiencing over many years, once we do that, you should not be having these problems.
But the teachers are getting impatient, pointing to the ripple effects of the consistently late payments.
You said very soon, how soon, and should we continue to suffer like this until it's done?
And although they didn't receive a timeline, they say they're comfortable with the acknowledgement by the ministry. Jamila Maitland, TVJ News.
Hubbard's is once again innovating the way you shop with its new online store, providing 24-hour shopping convenience. You can shop now for appliances, hardware, houseware, building material, and more. Free delivery island-wide. Start shopping now at hubbardshardware.gd. Safe, convenient, reliable.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.